Hey guys, this is Intermodal Trucker. My name is Larry. It is June 7th. I'm not really sure on the time. I think it's around 10:45, 11 o'clock. I haven't been doing videos lately. There's reasons for that. I can't get into that right at the moment. But I will update you guys soon about all that. I need almost a week. And then all answers will be revealed. I'll say it that way. But I thought I would just take you guys and show you guys just around here, around the farm. It's June, everything is green and growing and everything's going on. Got the truck over there. I actually took the truck out and drove the truck yesterday. I fired it all up and everything and took it for a spin around the block and checking everything out. Oh, you guys have been asking about the cats. I've had some comments about the cats out here. How are the cats doing and everything? Well, they're doing fine. We've lost one. We don't know what happened to it. See, she always just lays off to the side over there. She will let me pick her up. See, she's fine and everything. And she'll come over and I'll be able to pet her. And once she gets that first pet, then she's okay. Then she rubs up against me and then I can pick her up and I can hold her for a minute. But then she wants down. And it's a lot better than when we first got her. When we first got her, you couldn't get close to her, but she's getting better. But you can see one of the little kittens right there. They're all off in his bushes. There's 4 of them. And I've been messing with them for about a week and a half to 2 weeks now since I've been finding them. And I've been petting them and picking them up and everything else. And they're okay. When they were in the garage, it was a lot easier. But now they're outdoors and it's a little difficult to get a hold of them. But, you know, because they do take off from you. But you can still get them. There we go. So there's one of them. I know. There you go. Let's see, they're fine. They don't, hiss or nothing else. Let's see if I can get the one that's sitting over here is actually the playful one. This one over here dances around. Or no, not that one. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's back there under the bushes. It's got a white paw. Right there it is. That one there, it tries to attack me all the time. Come on. But it's the weirdest thing. I've never seen 2 cats mother a litter together. And the thing is the black and white cat will beat up that calico cat when she has kittens or whatever, and she hisses at them and swats it and everything else. But then she lost hers, and that one had a litter, and together they're raising these kittens. And they're surviving. Let's see if I can pick up a few more of them. Here we go. Here's the yellow one. How you doing? Let's see, they're fine. Is this the one? Yep, this is the one right here. This is my little buddy. This guy here, he just loves to play. He just loves to play. He's got that little white spot on his paw. And it's got all the different colors on his face. It just loves to play. It attacks the other kittens, and when I will sit out there in the garage with it, and they'll come out, and I've been playing with them, and it sits there and hops sideways at me and everything. But they're all good. So we've lost one black cat. The other one is still around. But the 2 mama cats are kind of keeping that one at a distance. When he comes around and stuff, he kind of howls at them and stuff. And they come out and they greet him. But if he comes in to the bushes here, then they kind of push him away and say, get out of here. So, there the kittens are. They're having a good time. They're just out here playing. I think that they're very healthy. They're very good kittens. They are outside here. We're not supposed to get rain. I was looking at the forecast. We're not supposed to have rain here, I think, until like the middle of next week. And hopefully these 2 mother kittens will take them back into a building or something if it starts raining. But I don't know. But they're getting pretty big and they're pretty healthy and they're running around. And actually, I've been putting milk out for the mother kittens when they were in the garage. And a couple of the kittens would come over there and they would start drinking the milk too. So we're kind of keep putting milk out for them, and hopefully they kind of get independent so they get bigger and don't depend on those mothers, because those two mothers are just bad mothers. So what else is going on? I got this all pretty much cleaned up. This has been kind of my garage for many years. I think it was about 15 to 18 years ago. I put all this, it was I think longer than that. I put all this drywall up in the ceiling and insulated it and put all these lights in and stuff. And then these are all heating ducts that run off a wood furnace over there. And this was kind of my shop, and I had so much stuff in here, guys. So I've been going through here and just cleaning everything out. I pretty much got it cleaned up. That's just a bunch of stuff that goes into my semi that's over there. I have my welder here. I got to haul down to my other shop. That's a stick welder. It's a Miller stick welder. That I have to get down to my other shop yet. I've been kind of combining everything down there and organizing stuff. This was where I made them a little house, and it worked perfect. I put those boards up to kind of make them feel like they're closed off, and I put some padding back in there and stuff, and they loved it in here. But then one day they just decided time to take them out, and so they took them out of here. You can see all the paintings kind of wearing off of the Jeep. But I'll give you guys a tip. If you ever paint somebody's windows like that and everything, that's all fine. I could get that off with a razor blade. I ran it all through a car wash. That's as good as it did. But I'll give you guys a tip. Don't paint the wheels. That is almost impossible to get off. I have found a way to get off. I found some old tire cleaning stuff. It's called bleach white. And I put that in a little bucket, and I put a nice scrub brush in there, and I scrubbed it, and I was able to get a couple spots off, so it'll come off. I just haven't spent the time scrubbing it. But if you guys don't know what this was from, this was JBG Travels and all his little minions. They when I stole his motorcycle, he went out there and painted all this up. You guys have asked me to show you my trailer. If you guys have been watching my videos, you guys know that I just went through a divorce. I gave the house to my wife. I looked around, being a trucker, being gone so much, it was like, do I get an apartment? Do I buy another house? You know, and looking at it, it's like, well, I'm only home a couple days a week, and it's like, if you figure it out, you know, if you get an apartment, it's like almost $100 a day, you know, to have this apartment with all the utilities and the rent and everything. And then you guys saw me fixing up that, you know, my parents' trailer house, and I used to live there about 15 years ago, and then fixing that all placed all up. And my parents were just like, just move in there. We want you to move in there. Because they don't want to deal with renters and people they don't know and stuff. And they wanted me to move in. I didn't want to do it. And I told them, I said, I just don't want to spend the money on it because, you know, it's just money that I'm just not home. I don't need all the space. And they were like, oh, no, you don't even have to pay rent or nothing. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I just kept going on, and finally I was just like, no, you guys rent it out. Let's find somebody good. And we did find a young couple, and they moved in, and they seem to be pretty good. Seem to be good people. So it's been working out pretty good. They've been living in there for a few weeks now. But this is my trailer that I had at a camp up north by Townsend. I used to own some land up there, and we pulled this. I had gotten this camper from a stepson and his girlfriend. His girlfriend's aunt had this camper at a campsite over on Long Lake. And if you guys saw that video where I stole Goldie from JBG Travels, and I came back Long Lake, the campground was right by there. She had it on there, and she was moving, and she gave it to her what do you call it, niece, and which was my stepson's girlfriend. And she got the camper, but they had no way to move it. So I went over there, and they wouldn't let them rent the spot because they were under 21 years old. So they told me I had to get it out of there. So I went over, they didn't have a way, and I went over and hooked up to it in my truck, and I pulled it back here and stuff. And when I pulled it out of there, the aunt was there, and she's like, oh, it has a little leak up in the corner here. And I went, And so I pulled it over here, and I told it, this girl, I says, well, it's probably rotten in there. It's probably some rotten wood and everything else. And it's got those rubber roofs on her. And I says, once they start leaking, they're so cheaply made, they just rot out. And I said, I can kind of look at it in a week or two and, see what it will do to fix it. And you could smell kind of the mold inside of it. So I brought it back. About a week or two later, I went inside, and it had rained for a couple days. And I went inside there, and the roof was actually bowed down from all the water in there. It was bad. So I tore the walls off and looked in there, and it was just all rotten. I brought her out, and I showed it to her, and I said, this is a lot of work. And she's, and I don't know if I had time for it or what. So she went to a couple of camper places and took pictures and gave them the pictures of the place and said, hey, how much to fix something like this? And they told her probably around $5,000. And this camper ain't worth $5,000. And so she came back to me, and she's just like, junk it. And I said, well, let me tear into it and see how bad it is. And so I started tearing in and replacing boards and everything. Well, it turned out being the whole front end of the camper. It was all rotten. The whole front, the floor, the ceiling, the front walls, 2 side walls. It was all just rotten. So I'll show you guys inside. And basically what I ended up doing is replacing all the rafters up here. I pulled this whole front piece off and replaced the whole front end with all new wood. I had to replace all the beams in the floor from right about this area here up, and that wall over there I had to replace too. It was quite a big deal. And I sat and I talked to her about it, and I said, this is all, I had it all tore apart. I said, what do you want to do with this? This is a lot of work. This is going to be some money. And I said, probably around $1,200 to fix all this in labor or in material. And she's like, well, I ain't got that money. And she goes, I'll just, and we had this land up north. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. I says, I'll fix it up. You guys don't have a spot to put it anyways. You guys can't afford to put it in a campsite. I says, I'll fix it up. I'll spend the money on it. We'll pull it up there and we'll set it up on our property as a camp. And then you guys can go in there anytime you want to. It'll be kind of like a shared thing. We'll go up there, you go up there, we'll share it. Well, we did that, and she went up there one time. They went up one time, and they just weren't the outdoorsy people. And so finally I talked to her and said, hey, listen, you don't want it, I'll take it, I guess. And so she signed over the title to me and everything, and I took it. And we had it up there for years. And then what I ended up doing is I built a skirting around it, because we would go up there and do a lot of snowmobiling. And so what I did is I built a frame around the whole camper, and I insulated it with some like a styrofoam stuff, and then I put this milk house material. It's like a plastic, kind of looks like paneling, and I put it all the way around to close off the whole thing. And I had the back end, I had a door back there where I could store stuff up underneath there, and I could lock it, and it worked real good. But then what happened is there was a creek behind, and we had a real weird winter, and the creek froze and thawed and it rained and snowed and rained and snowed. And the neighbors up there told me that the whole place flooded. And somebody called me and told me this, and they said the water was almost up to the door. I had a big deck built on here, and they said the water was almost up to the door and stuff. And I was like, well, I can't get up there right now. So the next weekend I went up there. Well, then it got really cold, and the water went down, but it froze. And the water was up about halfway or up underneath this whole camper. And back behind it, it was almost all the way covered. And it was a solid block of ice. And everything that was underneath there, it was frozen, a block of ice. We couldn't get in the door open or nothing. And so we just let it sit. And I said, well, there's nothing really you can do. I have to wait till for the springtime for it to melt. So I did that. And what happened is it stayed frozen underneath there till almost June of that year. Everything was thawed. There was no snow all around and everything, but it just stayed a block of ice up because it was all closed in. So I ended up going up there and busting holes all in the skirting just to get airflow underneath there. It finally melted, and what happened is all that moisture from the melting ice went up into the floor of this camper. and I will insert a video here that you guys can see the amount of damage that was done. It was completely wrecked. And everybody was just like, take it to the dump, just get rid of it, get rid of it. And I'm like, you know, I probably could fix it. So I brought it back and I did a lot of work on it. I had to replace all the floor members, as you can see here. I put all new flooring in it. I actually had to pull the slide out of the camper because it was all, the whole floor was rotten. So I got it all back together and it works real good. The roof is all sealed back up and everything, and everything works good. It was a lot of work, but this works for me. What I do is I just pay, you know, I usually pay $150 a month for my parents for electricity and to park it out here. And as you can see here, I leave this slide out. I built this little frame. All it is just a couple 2x4s I pieced together. It just sits on top of the slide out. And then I actually took 2 bundles of shingles and I shingled over the top of it. And that way it can stay out and the water cannot run back into the camper. Because those slide outs, they work real good and everything. You know it'll be okay for a rainstorm, but if you leave them out for months at a time, rain will go back into the camper. So I just built that. That way the water can go off and that whole thing will just lift right off. It's not connected onto it whatsoever. That little pole I just stuck in there with the ladder up there, I just stuck that in there and shoved it in the ground, and I actually put a little cellular antenna on top of it. And that helps boost my signal down here. I do have water hookup out here. I have full electricity. And I also do have sewer. This is our old pig barn, and there's a sewer system hooked up to it with the pit and everything, and it's hooked right into there. But as you can see now here, you have to excuse the mess. I got a table full of paperwork I was messing with. But I just put this little roll around recliner in here. I actually put linoleum all the way through here so it's easier to clean, just mop it up. I got my PS4 there, but I don't have internet out here, so. And then it's just got like a little fake fireplace thing. If it's just a little chilly in here, I'll kick that on and the logs look like they're burning, but it's just electric. And of course I got my shotgun sitting there. I was out shooting pigeons the other day. And some 22 shells. Everything's all good. It's got, you know, full water. It's all hooked up in here, hot water and everything. The water heater actually cracked. It froze and cracked in here. So I actually pulled it out and I was going to get a new one, but they were really expensive at the RV place because they're electric and gas, or no, I think they're just gas. They burn propane to heat the water, and they're really expensive. And I actually went to Menards. It's kind of like it's like a hardware store type, big box hardware place, and they sell these little tiny water heaters that are electric that you put in, like businesses put them in their bathrooms for like hot water for washing your hands and stuff in their sink. And that one was 80 bucks. And I put it up underneath there and I just rigged it up to a switch right here. And if I want hot water, I just turn it on, flip it off when I'm not using it. It's got a little oven. These are like junk. These things are always junk. But it's there. I got a microwave. And it does have the original fridge in there. And this does work. It's got a nice little freezer in there. It's nice and cold. And this runs on electric and propane. But I just have it hooked up to electric. So, and then I found this little roll around island thing. And I actually use this thing. It's one of these Coleman little stove things. They fold out. That heats up. I can boil water a lot faster than that little stove does. And of course I gotta have my little thing here because I love my pancakes, so I just keep it right there. I can actually see the outlines from the pancakes every time I make them. I actually built this cabinet. There was a cabinet in here, but it rotted all out. And when it came up through the floor, it actually wicked it right up into that wood, and it rotted this whole cabinet out. So I rebuilt this whole cabinet, and it's got all the pull-out drawers in it that originally were in. I just remounted them in, and I pull-out drawers down there. In the bathroom here, it's just a standard camper shower. Just a standard bathroom. And it's got a wardrobe thing in here, some more cabinetry down here. And then the bedroom back here, it's got a queen size bed in it. And I actually stuck a little, I stuck this little insulated silver backing stuff over all the windows because you guys know that I drive at night. So a lot of times when I come home, I sleep during the day. And that way it keeps the heat out of here a little better. And I actually bought this little $79 air conditioner and mounted it in that window so I can just cool this room because I don't need to cool the whole place. Just this room so I can sleep during the day. And I got the whole place locked off and closed off so the sun stays out. And this bed folds up and there's storage underneath there. And then there's a closet in here and all kinds of drawers down there for my clothes and everything. And then there's an exit door here, but I actually have it sealed off so it stays, so it doesn't leak or anything. I have it actually taped. This couch here is actually a pull-out couch, but those things are so uncomfortable. We've never used it. When we had the place up north, we actually just had a little blow-up mattress, and we just moved the stuff and put it in the floor right here in the middle and just blow it up, and the kids would come up and somebody would probably sleep on the couch, and that table would fold down to a bed too, but most of the time people would just lay on the floor with a blow-up mattress, and that's where they slept. So, and here you guys can see some family pictures. These are my daughters here. That's the one that just graduated. And that's my older one. She's the one that's going to be getting married here in a little bit. And these are her. Oh boy, look at that picture. That is a young Larry right there. That was my first daughter. Just some family pictures and stuff like that. And then here's my doggy Yogi. And you guys watch my videos, you know that he passed away not that long ago. This was a picture that my ex-wife actually put together. A picture frame, and she actually made me a whole album about it and everything. It was pretty cool. He was my buddy. But oh, and there's my hat. This was from our trip to Yellowstone. We took as a whole family. It was our last family trip that we took. And whenever you go on a family vacation, you have to buy a goofy hat. So I actually bought this hat in the Corn Palace in Mitchell, South Dakota. And that was my hat I wore for my whole vacation. So when I have talked about this trailer in the past and stuff, some people were like, "Oh, that's sad that you live in a little camper and stuff." It's not sad. This is all I need. You know, this is plenty big enough for me. My shop is right out the door, so that's kind of cool. It's very, very, very cheap. And I could put it to a campground or something like that, you know, with that. But, you know, then you're paying about $1,500 or something a year, you know, or more than that actually, for a campsite. And then you're crowded in there with a bunch of other people and all this stuff. This here, I'm all out here by myself. And some people, I've had a few comments, "Oh, that's sad," or something like this. It's not sad. If I wanted an apartment, I would get an apartment. If I wanted a house, I'd get a house. I love it out here. This is enough room for me. I am not home that much right now. I am because of my back. I've been home for, you know, a month or so. But, you know, it works for me. And so while I'm working on this whole debt-free situation that I'm really striving for, this works perfectly fine. So nothing sad here. I enjoy it out here. And here, I'll even show you the view that I get. You know, I would get to wake up and well, I got a dead tree. I was going to cut that tree down because that tree's died. But I mean, you know, nice little country view out here. And at nighttime, the deer are right up here. I walked out this door one time. I opened a door and there was a deer standing right here. And I opened the door and it jumped up in the air. I scared it and it scared the dickens out of me and it took off running. There's 2 deer that live back in here that kind of, I think, they've claimed this place here as their home. And late at night, you can hear them thrashing around in there chasing each other. They sit there and play. They're younger deer, so they jump around and act crazy. But it's a nice little view. So, little update. I am actually getting my stuff together, getting some clothes together and everything else. And John over at JBG Travels is going to be picking me up in, I think, about an hour. And I'm going to be jumping in a truck with him and riding with him. So if you want to keep up with me and see what's going on and where I'm heading off to and stuff, I'm just going off for a ride with John over at JBG Travels. And you can head on over to his channel and I'll be in his truck. So I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great day, great night, whatever it is for you. And if you're not, well, we could try that again tomorrow, right? So I will catch you guys later. And hey, don't forget, come on over to JBG Travels. I'll be in his truck in a couple hours. See ya.